Today is November the 4th. Today, we'll look at the very first writings of the New Testament. Reading through the Bible in a year, I'd like you to read 1st and 2nd Thessalonians. These are very probably the very first words that were penned and later were recognized as being part of God's new revelation of a new testament for the church. 1st and 2nd Thessalonians. It occurs very early in Paul's ministry. This is written during his second missionary journey, more than likely from Corinth, writing back to Thessalonica, the church that he had just recently established. It's very much like a personal letter. In this letter, 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, Paul commends their faith. He then, in chapter 2, he remembers his visit, and then he remembers Timothy's visit, or he talks about Timothy's report about being in the Thessalonian church. All that extends through chapter 3. In chapter 4, Paul, as an apostle, has some instructions for them. He commends them to good living. But then, starting in chapter 4, verse 13, he says, "Now, dear brothers and sisters, we want you to know what will happen to the believers who have died." Now, this was apparently a key issue for the Thessalonian church and for the church in general. They sincerely believed that Jesus was returning soon, and they believed that they were simply to endure the persecution they were facing, and then Jesus would come and take them home. But gradually, they began to die. Now, this caused some consternation among them. They began to say, well, what happens to the ones who die? Are they now lost forever? Paul says, no. Don't worry about them. Those who died will be resurrected. Jesus, when he returns, will call them in resurrection. In 2 Thessalonians, we continue the teaching about this. This very teaching of Jesus' second coming and a resurrection causes additional questions from the Thessalonian church. As Paul is ministering in Corinth for an extended period of time, apparently Timothy was carrying letters back and forth. He probably carried 1 Thessalonians back to the Thessalonian church. They then had a letter for Paul in which they asked him several questions. Paul gets that letter and he responds to it with 2 Thessalonians. And he goes into more detail of his understanding of Jesus' teaching about the second coming and with the challenge to them to stay firm. Now, in chapter 3 again, he goes to them and he exhorts them to pray for him. And then he finishes with, as he usually does, commands for daily living. 1st and 2nd Thessalonians are also beautiful, beautiful books. At the end of 2nd Thessalonians, Paul tells them, I want you to hang on, hang tough, persevere to the very end. Like, follow, and subscribe to this devotional on whatever platform you use to listen to it. Email your questions to us at questions@becomehope.com. Enjoy this Sunday in the church of your choice.